time, a few months actually, and I got a lot to talk about, especially with the live entertainment with J&J Mondays, of course. I do have some explanation to do. I will talk about that. I had a serious situation these last few months. I would love to talk about that situation. Unfortunately, my lawyers as well as myself felt it was best to not say anything, and that's not because of I have something to hide. I have nothing to hide. If I want to talk about what happened to me, I'll be more than happy to talk about what happened to me. But I'm dealing with a legal issue that involves a lot of court papers, involves a lot of lawyers, and the last thing I want is to give a certain individual, I'm not going to name names here, any advantages. I said this before and I say it again, that the internet is not your friend when it comes to some important, even criminal activities. Not to say I did anything wrong here, but needless to say, uh, in short terms, that you want to make sure you give no disadvantages, especially make statements that can come back in court and haunt you later. Needless to say, I'm okay. I'm perfectly fine. As you can see here, I did had a bit of a life scare, and which my partner here, Josh, can easily vouch for. But everything is good. Everything is all right. As for some of the programming, don't worry, you'll start seeing it filter down as the days and weeks occur. I'm still already going back to blocking, as some of you guys all know. As for J&J Mondays, it's going to be moved. It was not easy to begin with my new job to do J&J Mondays on Mondays. So at this point on, starting pretty much now, J&J Mondays will be on a Sunday, pretty much around the same time that you see it here. It gives my chance for me to get ready, get established, as well as Johnson Ken to get established, and we will start doing that from now on. Now, whether the title will stay the same, yeah, no. The title, Johnson wants to keep it as Monday, pretty much as a running joke. That's the way it is. And I have no problem doing that. Except there will be some due changes to the rules today. We're not speaking any columns. Not going to talk about what's been written in no news today. I decided that it's best to do it freestyle. But there's still a lot of stuff to talk about freestyle. The Academy Awards is one of them. I will be talking about it. I know it's been a week since the award show has been going out. Josh Ken, of course, saw the award show. I, of course, choose to pass on it. That's one of the reasons why they do
Because
any
he is smart.
entertainment round of vlogs on it. We have a lot to talk about that, though. There's so much to talk about that. And it's not even much of the awards. It's the aftermath afterwards, and something I want to give a message to my friends who does these award shows. We're going to be talking about the dress that went missing and came back. Um, that dress that actually proved once and for all that the media that I used to grow up with isn't the media anymore, and especially when it comes to serious news. The passing of a great legend in sci-fi history. We're going to be talking about that, of course, Leonard Nimoy. And, of course, we're going to be talking about a show that me and Josh actually talked about in the past, but now brought in very strong topics. It's a very serious topic because it is a topic that I think a lot of us tends to fall victim to when it comes to media influencing us at a positive and a negative light. So a lot of stuff we'll be talking about there in a freestyle mode because it is pretty much personal opinion. And like I always said, if you disagree with our opinion, I have no problem with that. Put it in the comment section. That's what it's for. You can voice your own views about this.
But why
Josh,
should
again?
anyone disagree with me? It's like, why wouldn't everyone have the same exact opinion as me? I just don't get that. It's not right.
How you doing, Josh? How are you?
I'm doing decent. And last night I watched
Always
Walk
these.
Among the Tombstones, so I got to see my sexy unofficial husband Liam Neeson kicking ass again.
How was that movie that nobody saw?
Well, it has Liam Neeson. I'm a Liam Neeson fangirl. I have to see it. It was good. You know, compared to the action of
Uh,
the Taken movies, it's not like that actiony, but it is has a heartfelt story to it with Liam Neeson's character deciding to quit the a police force and become a sort of detective because of an incident he had previously when he had been a policeman and had been also a drunk.
Uh, so we can see a lot of that in his movies these days. Are you going to see him in the upcoming film, Run All Night?
If it has Liam Neeson, I'm going to see it at some point in time.
All right, all right.
Did
So
you,
at least you're
you
faithful.
asking
You
if
watch it at one point or another.
what?
I said at least you're faithful. You watch any or his movies at one point or another.
Yeah.
All right. Since Google decided to run us under the way, we got to make sure we be very careful while we speak and not have the awkward pause moment. So, give me a signal and sign if you actually caught up. That way I know. Of course, that's one of them. Let's talk about it. I wanted to make the Oscars the first topic, but since what happened the last 48 hours, that has taken a back some seat. And if you guys haven't, I don't know how you guys have not heard about it by now. Trackies, pretty much, I've heard about it. It has been on the front page of every news stand across New York and pretty much across the country, probably. Leonard Nimoy, the legend who have made live long and prosper a catchphrase, the ultimate catchphrase, where plays Spock and probably one of the most iconic fictional characters in not just in sci-fi world, but pretty much in all the entertainment of life, have passed away at the age of 83. I was not stunned because of the fact is I knew he was up there in age, but I was more of it was an end of the era in many ways because one when you think of Star Trek, you can't go without thinking of Mr. Spock. He has been such an iconic figure that even those who didn't watch Star Trek know who Spock is. It's just that simple. And Leonard Nimoy brought such depth to that character that it is very even though we have now a new character actor playing Spock, the younger version of Spock, he is still known as Spock. He's probably what's typecast. If you define typecast, you look at Leonard Nimoy, even though he done a lot of other work, lots of work. His resume goes big. You will always see him as Mr. Spock, and it's sad for a lot of things here. I grew up with the original series, and the original series is pretty much made up by three major actors, three major characters. Even though they had other characters there and they're still alive, those three characters are what define Star Trek, and that is Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock, Dr. McCoy. Um, it was more in depth when it came to the movies that you've seen their friendship and their relationship and how they have grown together over the years. Now we just have Captain Kirk, and to me, it it pretty much defines a true end to a Star Trek era that I think that uh, it will never really be replaced ever again. That's how iconic those characters were, um, how Leonard Nimoy have defined that character. And the one thing I think that the new Star Trek series done right is did the passing of the guard with I believe his name is Zectorio.
Zachary Quinto.
Zachary Quinto, those two actors coming together, Zachary Quinto and Leonard Nimoy, pretty much is the passing card and the blessing from the old to the new. And I think that was one of the best crossovers they have ever done in movie history. It certainly beats the Generation film with Picard and Captain Kirk. But it is a very very sad um, sad. Even though we all know he's at a better place, I think the headlines had nailed it when they said he got beamed up. God had beamed him up to the new frontier, the final frontier. But again, it's just hard to believe that a man who's been around almost for ages is no longer there. And I'm kind of hoping with the new Star Trek film that's going to come out in 2 years that they do something to tribute, give some kind of tribute or to Leonard Nimoy because he was a very big a big part of Star Trek, more so than perhaps William Shatner was. He had a kind of character he made. He had directed two Star Trek films, Star Trek 3 and Star Trek 4. Um, and he was a very big part of producing some of the other Star Trek TV series. He was in a crossover in Star Trek: The Next Generation, and let's not even forget some of the other stuff he did. He did a lot of voiceovers over the years. He did a lot of conventions over the years, and he also pretty much have done some short reads for NPR. So he has done a lot, and that is a gap that pretty much will remain open throughout the whole entire right down the board from the entertainment world. So again, my heart goes out to him. He is, and I want to say personally, thank you because he gave us a character that is so iconic that um, even though we got a new actor, Leonard Nimoy will always be known as Mr. Spock. I think I said too much. Now it's your go. What's your opinion? 'Cause I know you're waiting. I know you want to say something. Go ahead.
I I just want to say I'm not like a huge Trekkie. Like the original series, I can watch. I could never really get into it, but still, Mr. Spock was always a lovable character, and whenever I saw Leonard Nimoy, whose name, ironically, like a day or two ago, I was just able to pronounce with no problems, and then he goes and dies. Um, but he was also a character on Fringe, William Bell, nicknamed Belly on there by Walter Bishop, and it was awesome seeing him on the show. One of the highlights from the final season of Fringe was just getting to see Leonard Nimoy's character not even talking, just basically frozen in something. It's called Amber in the show universe, but I won't go into all the technical mumbo jumbo stuff for non-Fringe fans. But and it was nice just really seeing Leonard Nimoy in anything like the new Star Trek movies. I like seeing him back as Mr. Spock, even though I'm not a huge Trekkie. I also like the one commercial he did with Zachary Quinto where they're racing to get to the golf club, and on the radio, uh, Leonard Nimoy is listening to the Ballad of Bilbo Baggins, which he sung. I don't know if he wrote it, but he definitely sang it. And if you look online, you can see the little music video for that. And so he's singing along, and then he goes, "Go Bilbo!" And it cuts to a different part of the commercial. It's Fringe and that one commercial are and the new Star Trek movies are the biggest memories I have of him playing different characters and himself.
That's interesting. The biggest thing I think he have done that nobody actually had known he have done, and I think it's kind of surprising because they think that because he did voice one of the Autobots or one of the Primes. I believe there's only one of the Prime I actually believe in Transformers 3, which is pretty much forgettable. But him being in that film was not
Oh God,
because
I
it's
think
Leonard
I
Nimoy.
heard
You know
that
his voice. You
there.
know it. Huh?
I think I remember
Here's the
hearing
thing,
that.
though.
He's what?
Yes, that was not the first time he was with Transformers, and people don't remember he was actually involved with the animated movie version, which was 10 times better than this movie. He played the
You're
voice of
talking about a
Galvatron.
Michael
Um,
Bay Transformers film. Dog shit tend to be better than those.
he's also been in other voices. I think the one film that the only reason why I watched it, and the only reason why I actually stood through the beginning and is hearing the voice of Leonard Nimoy being portrayed in The Land of the Lost with Will Ferrell. The one film I didn't understood why he was in it, but he was there. I wanted to hear his voice, and I got the chance to hear his voice. Um, he- the thing about him as an actor, he has that presence to him that when whoever film whoever he's in, you want to watch because he has that voice, he has that demeanor which rarely changes. I don't remember him playing an actual crazed villain at all. I think the closest we got to him playing a crazed villain when Spock was having the situation where he needed to do the. I think it was upon Far in one of the episodes of Star Trek when him and Captain Kirk actually fought. That was the only time where I actually said that it was actually where he was betrayed as a bad guy with no intentions. But other than that, his acting. I mean, people don't know he has been in a lot of other stuff, and unfortunately, this is a blessing and a curse is Spock that people will always remember. It's just like Tony Falk. Tony Falk have done a lot of stuff. He has done multiple acting, multiple stage work. But guess who they're gonna remember him as? Columbo. When he goes to the streets, they don't count him as Tony Falk. They say Columbo. That's how much of a presence. And look, there are other actors like that have done signature parts, have done signature roles, signature characters that we probably know them from. But there's very few actors that can actually be so defined in that role, so in tune with that role that no matter what they do, you know them as that particular character. There's very few actors that have that. Like for instance, you have the Batman. You can that's I watched the old series of the Batman TV series. Adam West, hands down. You see Adam West, you know he played Batman. That's his signature role. You have Columbo, Tony Falk, Columbo, no question about that. Um, and you have sorry, Leonard Nimoy, Spock, no question about it. When he passed away, guess whose picture he showed him? When doing his present day, because you also see the original TV series where he's Spock. There's a reason because he is iconic. That's what makes these iconic roles so iconic. Is the person who betrayed him. Um, would anybody would have done the role as Spock if Leonard Nimoy didn't play it? Probably. But can anybody be iconic and have that role forever stapled in entertainment history? Unlikely. He have done that. And now it's you.
And what?
And now I'm waiting for you.
Let's see. This is let me get. This is as well as I can do the Vulcan symbol. That's as well. Yeah.
Nobody, very few people can do that. All right, so it's
No,
very very.
the thing is, like, my fingers don't really move like as they should. Like, I'll send out commands and they'll go, I'm doing something completely different, and I can't even begin to do it on this hand. This is okay. This is.
Very few people can do it. Don't feel bad. I mean, it's not something that is that easy. Remember,
But
your
it's
hand
but
muscles are connected
an
to something to one
iconic
another.
sci-fi symbol, and I'm
It'll
a
always be
sci-fi nerd and
iconic.
I can't do it.
It will always be iconic. That's not going to change. You have anything else you'd like to share about our one of our fallen comics? I know a lot of Trekkie fans are mourning. This is something of a surprise and shocking. Um, I can't be shocked because here's the thing. During the 1990, I believe 91, I believe, I thought he had passed away then. Turned out it was Gene Roddenberry that passed away after they was filming Star Trek 6: The Undiscovered Country. Um, and at that time, it was uncertain that if Leonard Nimoy was actually going to do on Star Trek 6. Pretty much the whole cast was not even signed to do Star Trek 6. They was actually going to do a whole new cast, but later on they went back and to the old cast and did Star Trek 6. I didn't know how old he was back then. I know he was in his late
83 today. He was 83 when he
Mhm.
died.
He was 83. So I thought he was passed on, but it turned out he wasn't. He was doing a lot of shows back then. He was doing a lot of interviews, and again, just seeing him the way it was you just one of those again. I can't say this enough. He's one of those characters where you just want to listen. There are very few characters that has that kind of demanding presence. He was one of them. Um, I don't know if he had any done anything before his death. I have to check the lists of his film that he have actually completed, if he actually done. I know he didn't step into retirement because he was still doing some work. You already mentioned Friends as being one of them. But it's kind of interesting now to see. Again, I'm for Paramount Pictures. I hope they do something. I know it's going to be pretty much difficult, but at least give a tribute to Leonard Nimoy, because again, he played a huge part in the Star Trek franchise, more than I think people actually realize. That's how much of an impact he has done to the Star Trek franchise.
Yeah, and I had seen like a headline to an article like a few days before he died, where where it said it was in the hospital, and I didn't dare click on the article itself because I knew I'd probably be sad and worried, and so I was shocked when he died, but I still had like a little prior warning that that might happen.
Mm. Well, I didn't heard he was in the hospital. I didn't really thought nothing of it. The news didn't talk about him. It wasn't until I got home from work that I realized, oh man, he passed away. And the first thing that caught my attention was the headlines. The headlines was the thing that caught my attention. Beam him up. That was the one of the headlines that the Post had. Beam me up was the one that the Daily News had, and I realized that I saw Spock's face, and I said, "Oh, he's gone." So yeah, but other than that, there was really no indication. Like Anthony Mason, which I know you're not a basketball fan, he passed away, but we had like news about him having a massive heart attack. So when I heard him passing away, it didn't come to no surprise because he was already there. Um, but this one right here, it didn't come to my surprise, but it just left me with a sadness. That's basically what has happened. Anything else you want to share before we move on?
No, no, I might start crying, so we better move on to a different topic.
All right. This one is going to be mostly you talking about the stuff that's going on because you had the patience to watch that show, which I was kind of surprised you did.
I
'Cause
had a
you
little
could
help from my good old friend Saki. Makes
have.
time sort
Well,
of run differently, but still, yeah, it
all right.
was long.
Before I go insane, because I will say this: how long? What time did that show finally end?
A little after midnight.
Okay. I'm glad because now my rant is justified. That's all I want to say. All right, here we go. All right, now
8:30
before
to a
I get on,
little after midnight. You
all
you
right,
can just talk about how long it was, but I lived it.
all right, let's get the show on the road with the Academy Awards. First of all, I'm gonna say this right now before I get on to the situation because I know a lot of people are gonna say I got a lot of stuff to rant about from the showcases that was going on to the award itself to Neil Patrick Harris. Which, by the way, I'm gonna say right now, for those who think that hosts are important to the shows, don't come to me with that. All right? I'm not going to blame Neil Patrick Harris for what has happened and the criticism that came afterwards. Okay, if you've seen him in the Tony Awards and other award shows which he has holds, he is great. All right, this here, he could have tap danced to the moon. He couldn't say what was being a disaster, and all you gotta think of is last year's Academy Award with Ella DeGeneres and how she literally had to pretty much make up stuff on the fly just to keep things entertained. All right. Yes, Ellen DeGeneres, a lot of stuff she did was not scripted. Whether you know it or not, a lot of stuff that the Academy Award does is already scripted, already planned. She had nothing to work with. Neil Patrick Harris had plenty to work with, but nothing seemed to have worked. Okay, so that's not pretty much his fault. I'm not putting the blame on him. All right, and let's go another thing right here. Yes, I'm aware of the Academy Award conservatism. I know that they are very formal. That is a formal award. I have no problem with it being a formal award. If you want to see something that's more of a fan base, popularity contest, watch MTV. I'm not saying that anything bad with MTV, but that's how they do things. You will see Twilight there get nominated 17 times and probably win 18 times. I don't really care about that. That's for a particular crowd of people. That is a young people's award show with movie stars and movies that pretty much even I will go watch. As for just for fun and entertainment, I have no problem with that. Don't expect the Academy Award to change that. Don't expect the Academy Awards to come out of nowhere and say we're going to nominate this film, even though this film had terrible reviews. We're going to nominate this film. The movie that they did not nominated have some kind of particular rarity or pretty much an artsy feel that the Academy Awards are looking for. And if you watch the Golden Globes, you should have realized it was going that route anyway. And two, I'm not knocking the movies that was nominated. The movies that were nominated deserve to be nominated. Okay, period. These are great films. The films that surprised me, that even shocked the hell out of me. I thought it was going to be bad films, and they not only be good films, but great films that deserve the awards they get. Especially if you watch A Boy's Life. All right, that was one of them.
A
Birdman.
boy's life?
Boys, I know. They,
Boyhood?
Boyhood. Thank you. Why I keep getting us at that name? But you know what I was talking about. That was an extraordinary film. Birdman, extraordinary film. These movies deserve to get the praise they get. Whether you debate that whether or not these films deserve to be top dog, should deserve to win, that's debatable. That's something that we can always talk about for years to come. But these are the films that deserve to be there. Twilight is not going to be there. Mockingjay is not going to be there. Any
Well,
of the
Mockingjay should have been. It was an awesome movie.
all right. But you're not going to see these films get put in there with the Academy. It's just not going to happen. I don't have a problem with the voice selection. I don't have a problem with the films that made it in. My beef is this. Okay, if you're going to make an award show, all right, make it entertaining. All right, this was when I shouted out the most boringest show and all the Academy Awards I have seen. All right, I can't believe how boring this show was. This was so bad that people actually call WFAN. This is a sports network. They're calling WFAN to talk about the award show that they kept on mute. This is how bad your show has become. All right? The warning signs should have been there last year with Ellen DeGeneres. I kept my silence on that situation for a while. And I'd say that Ellen DeGeneres, for what she had little to work with, did everything she could to keep it entertaining, and she did. I thought she did a very good job working with very little. Here you have Patrick Harris had a lot of stuff to work with, and it still came out wrong. And to me, it goes by a few categories. I'm going to say it right now. One, shorten the damn award. Okay, shorten the damn award. Okay, because one, I should not have to wait till midnight to find out who wins for Best Picture. I already tuned out of the award show.
I
Johnson will tell you. I'm gonna let Johnson.
This year I didn't see Ellen's hosting last year, but this year I didn't mind the ceremony, but it still went on way too fucking long. It started at 8:30. And it didn't end somewhere till a little after midnight. That is too fucking long. And the great part was they were even showing clips of at least one other award show in the Oscars. And that's at the point where I was like, there's not enough sucking in the world to make this make sense.
Listen, oh God, it's ridiculous. I tuned out of this a while ago because I had things to do. I had things to prepare for. I had to do laundry. That was one of them. I had to do spring clean. I had a lot of stuff to do. All right, I'm not wasting 3 hours of my life watching this show, especially when you're putting stuff here that didn't need to be in here. Okay, it was just that ridiculous. I had Lori Rubinson from WFN was talking about the show. She was just making fun of it. Said the show is not, I don't even know who's up. I don't know. She mentioned about Michael Keaton, and that was it. People was talking about putting that show on mute. When people don't even want to hear what the person has to say, and they put it on mute. You're doing something wrong. Okay, 12 o'clock. I'm saying to myself, this show is still going on. Are you serious? You gotta shorten this up, man. Because look. I understand. Listen, I understand that the show is in the West Coast. I get it. I understand it. But you can still balance it out. You can still make it where, okay, if it's on this time, put it on this time, so that way it'll be on this time. All right? But here's the thing, though, and don't get me because they got so many awards now that they have to do it 3 hours long. That's not the excuse. You can take out a lot of stuff, and the show will be just as good. Just if you just give out the award at a certain amount of time, then do a little bit of this, and then give out awards again. You guys give out these awards, and you have other stuff that nobody cares about. The only true entertainment value that you had, which is kind of surprising and kind of surprising and also that she was even in there, was Lady Gaga.
I knew she could actually sing, like, besides the stuff she's gotten popular for, but I was shocked that,
She's very talented.
that she decided to show off that part during the Oscars.
And she was fantastic. I mean, she was the best highlight of the show. And it's like, wow, this is where this actually saved you from being a total complete trash fest. And again, if you're gonna make the show 3 hours, you gotta make it entertaining. The thing about it, and it's not just for me saying it. A lot of high critics have been saying this. Your show is 3 to 4 years behind the times. It shows on your award show. There are stuff that people just don't care about anymore. All right, you're not gonna win over young people with this type of show. You're not. All right, but sadly, you're not gonna turn over a lot of people who are in the 30 to 50 to 60 age group to the show too. Why are they gonna stand up? First of all, a lot of people are saying, "Look, I gotta go to work. I'm gonna turn this off. I can't stand. I can't sit here and look at all this garbage. I mean, come on. I mean, it's ridiculous. Listen, you can give the same quality by having it 2 hours or 2 hours and 20 minutes long. You don't need it 3 hours plus. All right.
When you release like the Blu-ray of the Oscars, you can have an extended edition with every other bullshit you want to put out there. But for the theatrical TV release, just spoil it down to 2 and something hours. I mean, Peter Jackson was able to do that with his Lord of the Rings. You should be able to do that with your Oscars.
I don't get it. I was listening to it. I said, you know what? I'll find it later on the fly. I'll watch the rest of it on YouTube because YouTube's gonna have it on there anyway. So I just turn it off, and I'm hearing people calling WFAN as I'm cleaning up. Oh man, this world is getting ridiculous. I have to keep it on mute. I'm like, wow, this is it. And I'm like looking at the time and said, wait, it's 11:30. It should have been done already. No, it's still going on. Wait, 11:45. They're still talking about it. It's still going on. I'm like, what are they doing? Don't they know people gotta go to work? And then midnight came along, and they still talking about it. Oh my God, what are they're killing the show. They're killing the whole program. I mean, come on, this is not the first time people have complained about this. For over the past few years, people have been saying your show is too long. You're putting stuff in there that don't need to be put in there. And listen, again. Keep the awards, keep the trophy ceremony. I have no problem, but speed it up. Give out 4 award trophies, and then have a little sing song on the side. Don't have stuff that don't. You've seen it. What stuff that they had here? Explain to me what they was doing to justify a almost 3.5 hour long show.
They didn't have really enough skits to justify it being that long. But one of the better skits there that I really enjoyed seeing was a tribute to Birdman, where Neil Patrick Harris got his robe stuck, in the drawer, and like Michael Keaton did in Birdman, he had to walk out with, his in his nice whitey tidies, and he actually, as he was walking, the whole drums were heard like the movie, and then the boy from Whiplash was doing that, and he came on in just his white tidies. I was wishing he was playing for my team. But that was like one skit over, it's like nothing would justify it being, past midnight. I mean, if they had to cut out that wonderful skit, to keep time, they should have done that.
How many skits were there altogether?
I can't look out my memory. I'm remembering the good points. But one of the bad things that happened, as I mentioned before, there was, of course, like a few days before the Oscars, there's or at least there was like some other award show they were showing like a minute or two at least of clips from. You know, it's just like you're in this award show. I don't give a shit about other award shows. Just worry about completing your own and getting everything done. If I want to know about the other award show, I would go and
Okay.
look them up. Or like a casual mention of the technical awards for the Oscars. You can mention that and then go right back into the show.
And there lies the problem. You just mention it without even going any deep into details of this. This is not Saturday Night Live. I don't need to see ridiculous skits that to make the show any longer than what it needs to be. Okay? If you want to have a musical ceremony, that's fine. I have no problem with that. The music doesn't take that long to get through. If you want to have an introduction that which has, by the way, Billy Crystal has been famous for, that's fine. I have no problem with this. But you have a skid after skid after skid. None of them is hitting a note. I have not heard not one positive thing about any of the skids that came through the Academy. If anything, they said it was an awkward moment seeing Neil Patrick Harris doing some jokes, and that's not a good thing. Neil Patrick Harris is a good host. If you've seen him in the Tonys, he proved that already. That's one of the reasons why they gave him the Academy Award to begin with. This has got to stop. Okay, you're not being funny. You're making yourself offensive, and it's just basically driving people insane. All right, you don't need to be Saturday Night Live. I'll be more than happy if you do the tribute, the passing of the superstar of the stars that made, Hollywood what they are today. Keep that. That's fine. Have a few musical notes. Some music that was nominated for an award. Have that there. Have something that actually will bring into the show instead of having skits trying to be funny, trying to do all the stuff that's pretty much not going to make any sense and will make a lot of people extremely uncomfortable. All right. And again,
Well,
I have to stress this.
I just want to say that the
Go
Neil
ahead.
Patrick Harris skit I mentioned, that was good, and it didn't make me feel awkward. It, reminded me of Birdman, which was a good thing, but if it needed to be dropped, to have the show in before midnight, then, drop it. Because while it's funny, while I highly enjoyed it, if it was something that could have been left on the cutting room floor to save time.
I mean, that's the whole thing. It's about time. Okay, that's all it is. I'm not saying that other awards are long. I'm pretty sure a few music awards are just as long as the Academy Awards. But here's the difference between those award shows, even with MTV. And MTV get a lot of criticism for being a popularity contest, which they are. I mean, there's no question about it. But at least at the MTV, they have something that the Academy Awards don't have. They have entertainment value. People watch, they're gonna get entertained. No matter what they're doing, they're gonna get entertained. Right? Whether you enjoy the entertainment or not, that's your prerogative. But you never hear that the MTV was boring. That it was nothing really truly going on. Even for Christ's sakes, Nickelodeon has a better award show than you guys right now. How is that possible that the Kids' Choice Award has a better approval rating than the Academy Awards? And it all comes down to being entertaining. If your show ain't entertaining someone, or your show is running too long because you want to put stuff in there that doesn't really need to put in there, you're doing something wrong. This is now going on 3 years, and people has been telling you for 3 years, cut it short. And again, the message should have been set loud and clear with Ellen DeGeneres, no fault on her, and she did a pretty good job with what she worked with, when she had to go around the stage to kill time. She was saying hello to everybody, making sure everybody was doing good. Did a freaking segment about a pizza and put it on I believe Twitter, just out of the fly. That was not scripted. All right, I don't want to hear about that was not scripted. She had nothing to work with, and she still managed to keep some sort of entertainment value. But that should have been a wake-up call to the Academy. Hey, we need to shorten this. We need to look at what we're doing wrong, and we need to make it where it's not going to run to midnight. Because people have jobs, and people's not going to be staying to midnight just to find out who won for Best Picture.
Yeah.
Right?
If you want to know who won, you can just I think it's on the Academy Awards site. Like, you can see the winners of each category, and other plays post that too. So you don't have to watch the award show. You can just watch
And,
something actually
and yes,
entertaining, and the
it
day
is.
after, check back.
And then and you just hit it right here. This is something that the Academy Awards need to understand. We do have the web. If people don't want to watch a show, they just turn it off and turn on it with the net and they find out who won through the various websites. That's the thing. That's the thing the Academy Awards need to understand. If people don't want to watch a show, they're gonna turn off and then turn on. Oh, hey, this is who won. This is who won. This is won. All right, now where's my cup of coffee? That's it. Like I said, there's a lot of things the Academy Awards need to do right here. All right. And I want to say is the one thing I'm not knocking the Academy Awards is their selections of movies. Yes, you're gonna have some movies that's always gonna be stubbed. That's the process. It's gonna happen, right? But for the most part, I expect the Academy Awards to be conservative in terms of what movies go into their selection. I have no problem with that. And to be honest with you, some of over the years they've been very good with the movies that have been selected for Best Picture. They have been. I mean, there was a lot of films that were selected for Best Picture nomination, and the films that have won a good 90% of it, I actually agree with. So that's not the issue. The issue is timing. The issue is entertainment quality. You don't have that right now, and that's the problem. All right, and if you want people to tune into your Academy Awards in the future, you're gonna have to, look at that as a major priority. One, the quality of entertainment that you're putting there, and two, cut the damn thing to no more than 2 hours and 20 minutes. All right, you can do it. There's no reason why you can't do it. If you're gonna have a 3 hour show, please have it where it don't run to 12 o'clock. Change the timing if you have to. I mean, there's no excuse for that. All right. The last thing I need to hear again next year is having people call who are not even sports fans on WFAN. They're just talking about how stupid the Academy Awards is and how they kept it on mute. That's embarrassing. All right, it's a total embarrassment, and then have the news media bash your show. The critics was having a field day with your show. It is not a positive thing. And Neil Patrick, God bless him, I think he's a great actor. Um, Both on the big screen and on Broadway. I mean, he did a lot of stage plays on Broadway. He's a great host for the Tonys. I am not knocking him. All right, this was not his fault. All right, the people who ran the show needs to start waking up and start, really, really doing an overhaul in terms of how they do this kind of stuff. All right. All right, people always want to scream, "I want Billy Crystal, Billy Crystal." Billy Crystal done it how many times already? I mean, come on. All right, I think people take too much emphasis on the host, when the reality is more of how they set up, how they plan, if anything else.
Yeah, if
That's all I'm
the
going to say
host
about that. But
doesn't
that's
have
my feeling. Short the
anything
damn thing.
good to work with, and if the ceremony goes on too long, there's only so much anyone can do.
Exactly. Only that's it. There's nothing else to say. I mean, that's it. All right. Now, I was going to end it at that. I can't
Oh God.
because 2 days later, the media had made themselves look like a fool over something that was so nonsensical that I can't believe they'd actually have the goal to put it on mainstream media. All right, let me first address this here. All right, there's a reason why I
Address.
separate my what's news. All right, there's a reason why I separate what's news to the entertainment roundup. When you hear entertainment roundup podcast, you expect all the news to be entertainment related. When you hear what's news, they're basically serious news that's happened across the world. Those are two things I always try to keep separate from one another. All right. Approximately 48 hours ago, and for the record, they have found the dress. Just to let you know, there was a news report about a dress that costs, I think, 140,000, I believe. It was expensive, more expensive than pretty much what they pay me in a year's salary. Um, it was stolen. All right, it was stolen in a hotel room. It was one of those dresses that you do the red carpets. They have they have the pictures of who's hot and who's not, which I don't care less about. But it was stolen. It was something that was made out of pearls and everything else, and it made the headway. So I didn't pay no mind to that. All right, I said okay, it was stolen. Hope they get it back, and that's it. The Post had this in their front page. That's big time news. Big time news. I said, and I'm looking at it and say, really? The next thing you know, CNN has it as big time news. Every major news station had this as if there was a major thing happening. Um, I'm thinking this, all right, there's something more to the dress. No, it's about the dress being stolen. It was so bad that they started asking questions about is the dress white or is the dress what? I mean, like green or blue, whatever the hell they was trying to
No,
color
it
on. But
was
it was,
white and gold or blue and black.
yeah, this is mainstream news. I ain't talking about E Entertainment News or TMZ. This is mainstream news doing this.
Well,
CNN.
the dress color thing is, long story short, I had optical illusion and became a meme on Tumblr. And then, radio stations started talking about it for some reason. I didn't know where the dress originated from. I just knew that it was, a Tumblr meme, and suddenly other people were talking about it.
But Tumblr you expect it. That's a social networking site. I don't expect CNN to go 4 hours talking about a dress that nobody cared about. Really? I really, this is what mainstream media, and this is not the first time they have done this. This is how I know mainstream media is becoming more of a joke every day. Um, the Justin Bieber thing, there was a congresswoman talking about a new law that could or could not be passed. This was something very important, and they had breaking news: Justin Bieber got arrested in Miami. Like I really care about Justin Bieber getting arrested in Miami.
I just,
Come on
without
now. I mean,
crappy music, don't, really focus on him because he's going to continuously fuck up. It's just something that you should only do on a slow news day when you have nothing
but it's
else
not
of
breaking
importance to
news.
report.
It
Exactly.
is not breaking news, and that's the problem. All right, they made this look like that this dress had committed a homicide.
I need to write that.
That bad things will bad
Dress
things will
commits
come, but
murder.
this dress will not be found. And that's how it is. I mean, are you serious? People was like, wow, we really going that downhill in the news quality these days. They really made this like this. This is the greatest. This is the biggest scandal of all times. And no sooner, I think about 24, 40 hours later, the dress has been found. All right. I guess the person who took the dress saying, this is getting ridiculous. Just take this damn thing. It ain't worth my aggravation. Go, just take it. I got enough of this. If I know you guys want to make a big deal of it, I wouldn't even took it in the first place.
Oh
I
God,
couldn't believe it.
that's great. A thief is just like, hey, I might not have the best morals, but you're being such morons that I'm embarrassed. So here you go.
I really. And here's the thing that kills me about when I thought about this. I'm like, you mean to tell me that you guys left that this person left $140,000 dress just laying in the hotel, just like that? I mean, really? I would have put it somewhere where I know it cannot be taken. Um, I know somebody got lost their job over that. I mean, there's no way somebody kept their job for that long because it has to be someone from the inside, unless somebody picked those marks. Because most of those hotels nowadays they have special key cards, so or special locks where they can't be duplicated. So it's trust me, nobody's gonna walk in and just take it unless you left the door open, which is another stupid thing to do. But nobody's gonna just come in there and just take and just say, "Oh, look, this dress." They knew what they were looking for. But again, it's just total nonsense. I mean, they literally made headline news, and it was a main topic for hours. There was stuff going on in this world, and I gotta worry about a dress that I'm never gonna buy or never gonna own, or none of my sisters or even
Oh, yeah,
future wife, if I
you'd
ever
like
have
to
one,
wear it.
is ever gonna own.
Okay,
Now,
continue.
what's your feeling on that? I mean, what's your feeling on it? I mean, besides you eating whatever you eating.
No, I'm taking some Tylenol. It's okay. Uh, it's fucking stupid. I mean, I saw the meme on Tumblr of people going, "Oh my God, I see it as white and gold," and No, I see it as blue and black, and like the Tumblr moron community goes, oh, you should tag that, a post if you're going to reblog the dress because it triggers people or makes them dissociate. And been some people talking about the optical illusion, and showing the actual picture of the dress and then the optical illusion version. It's if it stayed on Tumblr, it'd just be like, hey, another dumb Tumblr meme, which shit can go from one new meme to another in like less than a week at times. So if it had stayed on Tumblr, it wouldn't be a big deal. But if you're, but no, it stays on Tumblr. So when I go out into the real world, I don't hear about it.
Well, I heard about it and I just couldn't believe it. And I'm like, really, we're look. There are so many things going on right now. The local wise, we have the sergeants have finally got a raise after how many years? Like 5, 7 years, I believe. They're in a situation where they are looking for someone who attacked a young girl. We have a situation where a fair hike is going on. No, I got to worry about a dress that costs God knows how much money. And next thing you know, it's asking me, is it blue? Is it white? Do I really care? When the post is white, what's the problem? But
It,
you
it
know what?
just says
Again, this is more. This is media not being media.
sorry.
Go
It's
ahead.
like, as I said, there's like the one real picture of it, and then someone did an optical illusion, and since, long story short, we perceive the world slightly differently, it sort of played off that, so it confused some people. But there is more important stuff in the world, and I'm a person who just usually blogs about entertainment shit. It's like,
Hey, come on. If you want, listen. I'm saying like this. For those, if you want this to be news, make it be entertainment news. Let TMZ handle that. Let E handle that. Let Entertainment Tonight answer that. Let all these crazy garbage magazines that deal with this guy's gonna leave me in 2 days, even though they've been together still and they haven't even heard a damn thing about that. Let these guys handle that. I expect my news station to give me the news that I expect to get. Whether, information about some new policies that's going to be passed in law, what's going on around my neighborhood, what's going on around the city. The last thing I want to see is for 20 minutes is a dress that costs $140,000 and is become the top headlines. Only to what color is it really? Oh, people eyes can play tricks on the person. I don't care. I
it's
don't.
not news.
Jeez. Oh, jeez. All right. We're actually. You got anything else you want to say about the dress that just?
It should die a horrible, horrible death.
Well, she got it back. She got it back. I know she ain't gonna let that on the site again. I'm kind of curious if that dress was a rental. I really am kind of curious if that dress was just a rental. Because I doubt that person spent $140,000 for a dress she's only planning to wear once, and that's it. So I'm kind of curious. Those who are seeing this, if you guys know, comment section. I want to know if that was a rental. Um, there is one thing I did not want to discuss about this. I might as well talk about it briefly. I didn't. This is something I didn't mention to you. I actually forgot to mention this to you because it was a story I was following. Bobby Brown's daughter. You guys probably know about it. This was probably one thing that I was very careful. I was going to talk about it as an individual video, and I stopped. And the reason why I stopped is because the story behind, I believe, Christiana Brown's hospitalization was so crazy that I didn't know what to believe. I did not know what the deal was. I didn't know what the story is. And I'm not saying it's the media. So this is one time I have to say it's not the media's fault because the Daily News had her pretty much dead already. They was going to pull the plug on the same day that Whitney Houston died. Um, I find it very sad and sickening at the same time because it was like, why would you even do that? That don't even make no sense. And then later on, not even no less than 2 hours later, you found out that wasn't even true. And the fact that they said that she was making progress, only to find out that her, her internal organs was failing. So it was so much stuff going on, and now you have the situation where her husband, who was reported not to be the husband, only reported she was the husband, he was the husband, was not even allowed to come near her. That he may be investigated for the connection of what happened to her. There were so much stories here that it was impossible to filter out what was true and what was not. And let me go on and say, I got a system, and it worked for me, and it continues to work for me to this day, where I don't just look at one article and say, okay, I'm going to talk about that article because it's one article. When it comes to stories, you have to be careful of what you report. Sometimes something slipped through the cracks that everybody got a fool, and you have to make a disclaimer explaining what happened. But I try to be my best to keep that to keep that at the minimum. Only had to do it twice. That was it. One time in my serious channel, one time in the entertainment channel. There was so much stories that was about Whitney Houston's daughter that it was just so jumbled up that I couldn't even filter it out. You can easily filter out a story when you see a connecting story, because sometimes the Daily News and the Post, they go by the same story hand in hand. They may change a few words, but you can tell they got it from the same source. The same thing goes with a lot of stories in the social media. I don't take stories that is done by personal, like somebody who did a blog. You can easily tell by because they have a personal statement they want to make. I don't follow that. I go by a legitimate news source and legitimate stories, and I say, okay, this is legit. This is a real story. I couldn't do it with the story because again there was just too much out there. Every 5 minutes there was something different, and it's just been like, okay, I can't talk about this right now. I just can't talk about it until I get a legitimate source that is good. It's good. Then I'll talk about it. What I can say, and what I will say is that the family, obviously realizing how much of a circus this was becoming, have decided to keep things on the private, which just has been. I haven't heard anything about Bobby Brown's daughter since then. I do know she's still in hospital. I do know that she's still in a medically induced coma. That much is certain. Um, the story behind this, how she got to where she is right now, is shrouded in mysteries. And I'm hoping, and I'm saying it because I got no faith in California police police investigations when it comes to these matters. But I'm hoping they will get to the bottom of what happened because it's very fishy. Something is not adding up here, and especially with all the stories that's going on here, this could easily become a Natalie Wood type story where it's going to be shrouded in mystery. Nobody really knows what happened, and this is no exception. I do know she's very wealthy. She is the heir to Whitney Houston estate, and that may play a key. May play a key. Um, I don't know the relationship between Bobby Brown and her husband, boyfriend, whatever he is, but there has been some story that's kind of linked that he has been asked to stay away. Why? I do not know. Is he being investigated? It could be possible. But these are the kind of the stuff that has been going down. One thing I will say about this has been a sad, sad story that I have to follow through. She has already been through enough losing a mother, the way she have died, and now this situation here. And even if she miraculously recovers, she will never be the same again. Keep in mind, her brain went without oxygen, according to lots of reports for 4 minutes. That's 1 minute too. That's even 1 minute is too long. And you just gotta hope that some of the stories that is coming out, that she is making progress, that she's responding, how to open her eyes, is a step that she's gonna finally pull out of it. But if you ask me, I seriously doubt it. But again, I'm also more concerned for the family, but most importantly, I'm concerned of what the hell the police is doing, and if they're going to file a pursue with the possible criminal investigation. But either way, very sad story that unfortunately I couldn't really give a report on or even an update on because it was just so jumbled out there. Everything was being said from left to right. Josh, what's your opinion on that?
I haven't really heard that much about it, so I'm not going to be making any statement about it here. Just, in the most likely scenario of me fucking shit up and saying something really wrong, so I'm going to not say anything at this point in time.
Have they? Did they? Is Florida? Have Florida ever mentioned it? Have it made any news headways over there? I know Florida's a difference
I
from New
don't
York.
tend to really pay that much attention to the news unless someone I know brings it up. If it's, over social media, I don't really hear about it. And I do double check. I definitely agree with you, double and triple checking sources. Because if I hear something that sounds insane that someone posts, say, on Tumblr, I tend to Google, hoax or try to look it up on Snopes. Yeah.
I I hear you. That, it is very important because again, and that lead right into the final topic of the day. That it was just people did want me to comment on it. I did want to comment on it. I just couldn't because again, stories like that you have to be very very careful with. And when it comes to something that serious, because this is a very serious situation. She was found unconscious in the bathtub. Her head, I believe, was submerged in water. Um, that as far as we have gone. She was put in a mentally induced coma, but after that, it was just one crazy story after another, and no one knew uh, the actual scenario what led to that. They thought it was drug overdose, which later on turned out to be from another story not true. There was a criminal investigation, suspected foul play. I did we ever heard nothing about that. We heard about the boy about the husband, which later on said he wasn't the husband. Next thing you know, he's being investigated. We just don't know what's going on. There's so much stuff out there, and for the record, when it comes to internet media, you really got to be careful because
Yeah.
internet media you think it's news, but it is somebody's personal opinion, and it can actually make things a whole lot worse. So you
And
want
then
to see who
even
that.
on actual journalist sites, like CNN or whatever, you also have to be careful because every news system has its own specific bias. So even if you're looking at official stores, you should double or triple check your sources, which is like the main reason I'm not into politics because I know I would have to do that with everything I heard and like I don't have the time.
It's very very difficult, and look, you hear people on YouTube a lot. I'm included. We voice our opinion, but I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a news journalist. I voice an opinion. I voice something that I saw that I felt worth talking about, and I'll let you guys also voice your own opinion. That's what we do. Even those who don't agree with me, that's fine. You guys have your own opinions, and it's good to hear different opinions and hear different views. When it comes to news, however, they are supposed to check their facts. They are supposed to make sure that what they are reporting is actually what they're reporting. And like I said earlier with my with the dress thing, we haven't been getting that lately with the media. All right, we have gotten a lot, and like Jessica said, a lot of them have their own personal agendas. When you look at Fox News, they have an agenda. They do. I mean, they have their conservative base agenda. All right, and they know who they're catering for. Same thing with CNN. Don't think CNN is any innocent when it comes to their own point of view. They do. All right, and sometimes that can actually it's actually getting away with actually telling us what we need to know. Some of these guys want to tell us what they want us to hear, stuff we should be hearing, and that's something that's why you have to do your research. You have to double check what they're saying. You have to pretty much basically go over the stuff they have said. Oh, they said this. Let me see if that backs up, because yeah, it can be thrown out there. There were 19 doing after 24 hours after the report of Whitney Houston's daughter being hospitalized. There were 19 different stories on the same topic. It's not possible. There should be a consistency on each story. If there's no consistency in each story, something's wrong. Somebody's not doing what they're supposed to do, and you gotta wait. Sometimes I do that with a story that people actually wonder why I'm talking about it 2 days later. Well, because number one, there's a lot of junk out there that I'm trying to filter out. If I can't filter out the story, I can't talk about the story. I can only give my actual opinion. Yeah, I could. But if my opinion doesn't match what the hell I'm talking about, then you know what? You guys will come after me saying, how come you're lying about this? Is not what the case is. Well, this is why I make sure it happens. I filter it out. I don't rely. Somebody accused me one time of going just to Yahoo. Trust me, I don't go just to Yahoo. All right. Yahoo can be very fictional when it comes to their stuff. I'm aware of that. That's why I go to different areas of the news media and make sure that what one is saying it matches what the other person is saying and the other person is saying. Once I know realize, okay, there's a consistency, then we can talk about it. If there's no consistency, I'm not going to talk about it. There's no consistency in this situation. However, one thing it is consistent about, and one thing that the fam that it's been reported by the family itself, they want privacy. Obviously, they're realizing just how much of a circus this is becoming, and they don't want that, especially um, when a family member is fighting for her life. And there was on the Daily News, there was one thing I do agree with the Daily News. I do think that because it was reported that Bobby Brown doesn't want to let her go. And that makes sense to me. The reason why is who wants to pull the plug on a child? That's just come on. I mean, we know someone who's been through that situation, so it's very very difficult, very very tough. Does that mean the Daily News is wrong to write everything else? No, but do I believe that Daily News is just like any other media that just getting different information from different sources that may not have um, the family of this young girl's heart and mind? Absolutely. I think there's a lot of people who are saying a lot of things, and it's not pretty much all adding up. If there is a legit story that I can talk about, I will do it. I have no problem with that. In terms of this, I have to keep a low profile on it and just keep taking notes on what's going on. And anyone, no matter how old you are, or how much you are with the entertainment world, or even with the mass media world, you should also take in the back of your head that what they're saying may not be what is actually happening. All right, and you want to always double check, triple check if you have to make sure what they said on the papers, as well online, or as well as just on your favorite news channel adds up. Josh.
You basically cover. We basically said everything. Basically, don't believe something just because you read or hear it. You need to double check if you want, especially even if you're just doing a YouTube video, you definitely still need to double or triple check just so you don't become part of the problem.
Um, all right, we said enough about that. The final topic that I want to talk about. We have talked about this, I believe, privately. We didn't really talk about it doing any of our, your Josh Talk or J and J Mondays. But a TV series on ABC is about to premiere. Now I have seen the trailer. You have shown me the link to the trailer. Um,
Can't. What show?
I think it's called Something and Lies. Something and Lies.
Uh,
It's only be premiering on ABC. I think it's a
I
mini.
know I know there's a How
Juliette
to Get Away
Lewis.
with Murder, but I think there's a new show
No,
coming
not
out.
that one.
What?
It's not that one. It's
Okay.
something in lines. I can't get the line. I can't get the first.
Pretty
And it
no,
stars Julianne Lewis. And go ahead.
I don't know. I mean,
And
Pretty Little
basically I can give
Liars.
you the hint. A boy. No. The um the father had a son. Well, son was murdered, and he is the prime suspect, even though he hasn't been arrested.
Oh, Secrets and Lies.
Do you remember?
I've
There we
never
go.
talked about that with you. That must have been someone
This show is
else.
going to be premiering soon.
I'm
No, we
having
talked about it
problems
because you showed me that you gave me
keeping
the link
up
to the
with my
trailer.
shows, so I
I
so
remember
I
talking about that with.
can't. I can't. I have a poor memory, folks. I have the memory of an Alzheimer's patient.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Um, my this show is going to be premiering soon. It's actually been a while because it's been a good 8 months since we had talked about it, so I can see why you haven't remembered. But you gave me the trailer. The show is finally premiering. It actually gotten some very good reviews. It's a miniseries. Um, but what I actually, as I thought about this long, because the series goes like this: this man is being prosecuted by the public eye. He hasn't been arrested. He hasn't been charged, and it's gotten so bad. People leaving signs of child killer on his doorstep. You have this woman who seems to have her own vendetta against him, even though nothing's been proven that he have done anything wrong. And this show, it may actually become a smash hit. It may actually win a lot of awards, or it actually may fall flat. Regardless of that, the message behind it actually is connected to real live events. And it also, from what I'm gathering from the show, it also shows how you got to be careful of how, again, the media betrays a certain scenario in the news. All right, I'll give you a perfect example. You remember the incident? I don't know if you actually go back that far. John Benet Ramsey. Have you heard about the news about that?
No.
Okay, then, well, she was found murdered in her own family house. So she was in the basement. She wasn't there when the cops investigated. Only the cops came back and they found her hours later. Um, Immediately, the Ramsey family have hired lawyers to talk to the police. Because of that, they was held on high suspicion that they may have committed the murder, even though there was no charges brought up. There was no evidence to point to the family other than the fact is they hire a lawyer. And the media had a frenzy with this. The media basically had made them guilty, even though there was no charges on them. And the police department didn't help matters because they let it happen. Um, I have talked to a friend of mine who actually do that for a living at one point, and he said the reason why they do that is by having the media do what that they actually was hoping they could actually lead to an arrest. And I feel that's kind of a gamble and also a risk and also pretty much a witch hunt over something that you're going on a hint. You can't do that. And it turns out that they never made any progress. And the reality is, the way I've seen it, they wasted valuable time where they could have actually done the right thing, investigate, that could possibly lead to the rest to what has happened. To make a long story short, I knew that there was a lawsuit that happened because of that. I don't know how far that went, but they were exonerated because they didn't do anything. They didn't have no evidence linked to it. But because of how they was portrayed in the media, they was listed as the people who committed the murder. This is something similar to what we're going to see in the show. The show is going to show how this guy whether he did or not, is being already prosecuted, all because of a suspicion from one cop. And that one cop has the media pretty much already accusing them. They actually went to their home, took some stuff out, basically trying to find something to pin them on. And this is not the first case that we've heard. A lot of cases, from previous cases over the years, have seen the media play judge and prosecutor over something that may or may not be true. And this show can easily portray it. If they do it right, it can easily show how that can actually have a very negative impact, especially if that person was never put into, ever went to court, never was arrested, but only being prosecuted because I think he did it. I just need to find evidence how. I'm going to put the pressure on him by having the media scold him 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that's what a TV show is pretty much leaning towards, showing the effects that could happen. Because it can destroy a family, and it also can bring suspicions towards his neighbors who don't even know all the facts, and is basically going by what the press is saying and not what the facts are being presented. And you look exhausted.
No, I'm not really exhausted.
What do you think?
I'm being more twitchy than normal today.
Anything you want to share about that?
I can't remember ever telling you about the show. All I remember about the show is like seeing some of the promos. I don't remember you. Ah, I don't remember sending you anything about it.
It was a long time ago. That's why I'm kind of surprised the show is now starting because it was in the middle of last year, not even fall of last year. It was like almost during the end of
Was
summer.
it when we were like looking over the long list of upcoming shows? Because I probably forgot anything, we talked
Yes,
about for that.
yes,
Okay.
yes,
That's why I can't
yes.
remember.
You just hit it. That's the show. That
It was one of those many shows. I probably stated my opinion about many of them. I can't remember shit. It's like, seriously, sometimes I'm in the middle of a sentence and I can't remember what happened. Sometimes me and Revs will be in the car and we'll see something and then he'll like tell someone else and he'll say, "Hey Aaron, you were there with me, don't you remember seeing it?" And it's sort of, and I won't remember it. So it'll seem like he's lying and it's my memory's great.
but what's your thought? What's your feeling on what I just said?
Well, yeah. I do like it when shows bring out the darker side of reality that it, like what you think is good and seeing all the little things that go on behind it. Bringing up one of the classic shows that I just recently saw the majority of the series. And don't worry, I will get to watching this whole series, was The Wire. And The Wire, one of the great things about it was it showed you basically sort of behind the scenes how uh, people would do bad things for good reasons, how fucked up things would happen. And so maybe, of course, I'm not expecting anything of that level for this show, but the same basics of looking at the darker side.
Well, that's the whole thing. I think that what I like about the show is it actually bringing a situation where how being prosecuted by the media and not by the courts can actually have a negative effect, not only just for the people who was in the front of the camera, but also towards the victims as well. And this is a show that looks to go in that direction. Now, doesn't mean the show is going to be good. Doesn't mean the show is going to be bad, but the overall theme, if you watch the commercials and you watch the trailer, shows where it's going to, and show how a cop who wants to get to the facts is willing to scrutinize the person who may be innocent just to get an arrest. And we have had seen stuff like that before. We have seen prosecutors bend the rules just to get an arrest. We have seen, even in New York, we had a situation where the media had played such a negative impact on the case that when the truth finally came out, it embarrassed not only the prosecutor, but also embarrassed the media because the media had portrayed one particular person as this evil guy, when in reality it was totally the opposite. So this could finally bring to light some of the stuff that a lot of people had an issue with in terms of media having way too much power in terms of how they report and how they bring their own personal opinion instead of just reporting. Or it could also be a backlash where the show missed the mark hugely. Um, Keep in mind, this is not the first show have done this. Without a Trace have done a very good episode. I recommend this episode because this episode really does speak volume how certain missing kids reports get special privilege than others. Children go missing in this country all the time, but it seemed like if that particular missing person don't have a special characteristics, it will not be reported. Um, and when our Trace actually brought that subject up, how because this kid is African American, you're not going to get the public attention to where the person is Caucasian. She gets all the attention she needs. The mother gets to speak the plea to the media. Wild Trace did it very, very well. It was a very, very risky, controversial episode, but it was a well done episode. I'm hoping that this series really showed the consequences of having the media um, basically being a judge and a jury, where except for the law to do the job instead of the media. So I'm kind of curious how much they really tackle that issue. Nothing to say, huh?
No, I
I left
didn't
you
say that.
flabbergasted.
Our world is fucked up, and I hope this show shows it. Yay!
So you don't want to see reality shows like that. That's the whole thing.
What?
That's your thing. You don't want to see shows that's grounded that's actually is based on realistic
I
scenarios.
sometimes I watch things that aren't sci-fi or fantasy. I need to catch up with the new episodes of How to Get Away with Murder, which is interesting because it shows how this one person will try to win the case by any means necessary, sort of trying to make the game so that she'll always win. Besides the whole besides the whole other big subplot, which is also
If it
interesting
makes you
because it
feel better.
shows these people trying to be lawyers about how, long story short, mind you, I haven't seen any new episodes from the second half of the first season where they become so engrossed with, becoming successful that it does bad things to them. Besides, them accidentally or purposely killing this one guy, and how that also stresses them out. And so it's, of course, them dealing with the actual murder should will probably be dealt with in the episodes I haven't watched.
Well, definitely one of those shows. I've been too busy watching Empire, which is actually one of the biggest surprise hit of the years. It is a very well done show, very well interesting show, and you disappeared on me. Where are you?
I turned off my camera because it's near the end of the show, and this is what I do.
All right, I was gonna say you disappeared on me. I'm seeing a nice eagle here. I've been watching
Eagle?
that show.
No,
Well, I've been keeping an eye on.
that's a
What
red-tailed
about it?
hawk. It's a hawk.
Oh, okay. Well,
Oh, God,
look,
don't
I can't see the whole full face. All right, I see wings spreading, and I see the guy looking up in the air like he saw Jesus. That's all I need to know.
Mark Ruffalo is
um,
on about Empire.
that's, Empire's been a surprise hit. I know it's reaching its end. Some shows are making a comeback. In case you guys want to know, The Good Wife is making. I think this premiered this later on this week, so you guys can check that out as well. Um, and no, unfortunately, we're not doing the top five this week. Next week we'll go back to it. We're gonna be pretty much going on a back schedule because again, we're doing it on Sundays. Josh and do not want to change the day to J and J today to J and J Monday because she likes it there J and J Monday, so I'm keeping
It's
it the way it
funny
is.
because it's
Over,
Mondays on a
I've been overruled
Sunday.
on that situation.
It's funny.
It still can be that way. So the top five will be back, and it will be back pretty much like that. Hit and miss will also be back. Look at the numbers, games. Even though it'll be the unofficial numbers, it will be back again. So everything is going to come back. It's just going to be on a Sunday because that's the only true free time. And judging from the time we have right here, I think it's best that we keep it on Sunday. Everything will be more organized. We're gonna mix it up a little bit. Josh can will have some of the stuff she wants to talk about. I'm gonna have some of the stuff we want to talk about, so that way we have it evenly. So it just won't be just me talking about that. But it will be back again. Hopefully, I will have some updates on some of the stories that I had. Um, as for other videos, they will be coming out. I'm not giving you a date. It will be out. I actually completed a couple of videos of myself. I'm working on a blog series that's already on full circle. And that's all I got to say right now. Things are going to be a lot slower for me because, again, I have a lot of legal issues that I must deal with. Keep in mind, I have a person in here who did some very terrible things, not just to me, but other people, and I got to deal with that. That's pretty much the first priority. Joskin also knows about it. I've been keeping tabs with her on the situation. But that's pretty much been the gap here. But hopefully, as the months and days go on, that will no longer be an issue. Keep in mind, I also work at nights and I get up earlier in the morning, pretty much around 8, 9 o'clock. I go to sleep, I gotta go back to work again. So it's one of those jobs, right? So
Yeah.
those who work those jobs where they got a lot of overtime. Overtime is good. I'm not complaining about it, but it does take a lot of you. It really does. Working in a warehouse isn't easy work, but it does pay the bills. So that's pretty much it. Josh, you have any shout outs or anything you want to add on? Any promotions you want to do? Go.
Okay, if you want to check my own stuff out, because I am awesome, I have a blog, jashikins.blogspot.com, where I do a bunch of stuff. There's fanfics, original series, vlog reviews, and such. I have two YouTube channels. My main one is Jashikins, and I also have a secondary one called Jash Talks, where that's where all my podcasts are, like a Jash Talks specials with extra happy, etc. Give me views and
And
subscribers.
that's pretty much it. We're keeping it freestyle, but next week we'll be back in our formal thing. We may have some guests coming in every now and then to do some interviews and just to do a rap session on that. But for now, guys, glad to be back on YouTube finally. I'm happy to be back on YouTube. I'm happy to see J&J Mondays, even though technically that's not longer Mondays, back online. And we will continue doing this every week, or depending if Jonathan herself had something to do. And again, for those who want to share their opinion, or if you have a topic, and this is something I'm doing, something new, if you have a topic that is entertainment worthy, that you want me or Joskin or both to check out, leave a link either to my channel or the Joskin channel. Where we get to, we'll check it out, and if it feels like worth talking about it, we will talk about it. But until then, this is J77. Joskin, you want to say goodbye?
Adios, amigos.
All right, and until next time, this is J. This is J and J Mondays, technically Sunday. Signing off.